think that guys our age, that's pretty much.
You know, I don't know if you've you heard my lead in. From a room next to my bathroom in my basement, this is My Worst Holiday. It's a podcast about your worst wedding, funeral, bachelor party, bachelorette party, and whatever's funny after the fact. We want to hear it, and for the second time, we have the bald-headed, beautiful bastard, Phil Perrier. Say hello, Phil.
Hello. Good to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Well, it was so fun the last time. God, you've ripped for Jay Leno, George Lopez, Arsenio Hall. You've got your show on right now called Smoked Yogurt you're doing, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Sundays at 12:30 on Facebook.
Tell us about you, Phil, and then we'll go into story time and stuff. So tell us about you.
Well, okay, I'm a short list. I'm a comedian. I grew up in Atlanta, originally from New York. Grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Started doing open mics in like 1985. Became a road, a touring road comic. Moved to Los Angeles in 2000. I wrote freelance for Jay Leno for many years. I got a staff gig in LA writing for the Arsenio Hall, the most recent Arsenio Hall show about 10 years ago. And I did a thing called All Comedy Radio in LA for a couple of years in the early 2000s. And I still do. I've got gigs coming up in Park City, Utah, when the Sundance Film Festival is going on in January. So I'm looking forward to that. And I've got my documentary film One-Nighters on YouTube, which is my, I think really, I don't have children, so that's my baby basically, because that'll be around 100, somewhere, some poor slob is going to find that on YouTube or on whatever the platform is, inside his head or whatever. So it's good that, I've got a documentary film that's going to be out there in perpetuity, and I'm very happy about that.
I just like the word perpetuity.
I know. I had that loaded up, man.
Solid word you got there, Phil. Yeah, and I promote it. I push it every time I get a chance. I tell everybody about it. It's a great film. Got some great people in there.
Yeah,
a couple wonderful people who have since left this little Timmy Wilson.
Judy Tenuta.
Judy Tenuta. God, I loved her. She was just great.
She's a Chicago gal.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Born and raised. Down, pigs.
Exactly. Yeah, from okay, she said she was is Oaks. So it was the same place that Frank Lloyd Wright was from, because she made a joke about that. Oakhurst or something in
there's Oakhurst, there's Oak Brook, there's those two,
yeah. So but anyway, just freaking brilliant, and Tim Wilson and Jay Leno and Billy Gardell, and I'm really proud of One-Nighter. So thanks for mentioning
you
that.
Should be. It's an homage to some pretty heavy hitters.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great comics.
Yeah.
Now, what gave you the idea of My Worst Holiday? How did that pop up in your head?
Oh, I stole it. No, I'm just because I'm just not original, Phil. I steal all my shit. I write it down over here. No, it kind of half-assed did. It was I don't know. Do you remember the Bob and Tom show?
Oh yeah, I think they're still. I think one of them retired, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think one of them did. Last time I listened to it, it was mostly commercials. Like there was literally like 5 minutes of show, and the rest was just I couldn't hang in there anymore. But anyway, so I listened to a podcast called The Dollop. A guy turned me on to it, and it's hilarious. It's one comedian telling a story, the other comedian's doing commentary on it, but he has no idea what the story's about. And it's about American history. And it was funny. It was really funny. And I listened to all of it, and I said, God, I need more. So I go to Apple iTunes or whatever, and I'm like, another funny podcast, please. And what they were showing me and the numbers that these people were getting was just awful. I mean, they like what they considered funny was I'm like, fuck, I'm funnier than that, So I'm like, I wonder how much it is to start a podcast. Well, for a single mic mixer, it's $100.
Wow, nice.
Look at that. The hard part was building the website and getting loaded up to Apple Podcasts. That was the hard part.
We're on Apple now.
What's that? Well, I'm on all of them. I'm on.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
like
I'm on
roughly
every
like
platform.
how many viewers, ballpark do you think on any given? Do they tell you?
I don't even follow. I don't pay attention. I don't care.
Yeah, me either.
I do this because I love it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Bob and Tom thing, the idea was I was listening to them and they were one Thanksgiving and people were calling in and telling horror stories about Thanksgiving. And it was just a scream.
Oh, I've got a Thanksgiving. Let me write that down. Go, keep talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, it was just a scream. And so I'm like, you know what? Like, what if we opened this up a little bit, and really, you turned it into like just sitting at the bar with a guy and he's telling you the fucked up family stories that he's going through, like, and then my mother-in-law, she killed my fucking donkey. God damn it. Like you're never going to run out of that material.
Yeah.
Because everybody's all fresh, new, raw material, and you're never going to run out of it. And I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And then I got, climbing the ladder, gotten to know more famous people, and started being able to bring on actors, directors.
Like what's the most famous, person you've ever had on?
The most famous? It's probably you, Phil.
Come on, man. Just give, like there's got to be like a Major League Baseball player.
Bruce Valanche.
Bruce, yeah, he's the writer in Hollywood for many years.
Yeah,
for like the Oscars and also I bet he was a great guest, huh? No,
I was maybe I pedestaled him, because he's got Tonys, he's got Oscars, and I'm expecting this.
He's just decorated.
I'm just yeah.
You think he's gonna be like Robin Williams, just like joke.
Yeah, and because my energy's here, and he was a nice guy, and it was a good show. He was very nice, and I was just kind of,
I mean, you kind of have to. It sounds like on your show, you kind of have to be willing to talk about some embarrassing stuff, right? I mean, that's got to be, if you're guarded, it's going to be a pretty lousy show, I would think.
Mm-hmm. And you never know.
Yeah,
I've had other podcasters on. Hey, Aaron, I'm talking to Phil Perrier. Look up his dossier. The guy's amazing. Aaron Hawkins, he's a director. A movie called Evil Lurks. Yeah, but anyway, what was I saying? Lost it.
Okay, well, I said that if you're guarded, it's not the best show to be on. You got to open up a little bit.
I've had people like Bruce, who was good. He was good. And then I've had just other podcasters on that wanted to promote their show, and I'm like, come on aboard, and have absolutely rolled me. I mean, rocking back and forth,
That's great.
Inconsolable, but so you never know. The beauty of this is you never know, and the other beauty of it is it's raw, it's real, it's not canned, it's not the Johnny Carson. So I hear you prefer the 9-iron.
Well, so okay, when you were mentioning the Thanksgiving story, okay, so when I was in my probably mid-20s, I went to Thanksgiving with my girlfriend's family and with my mother. So I had basically 2 Thanksgiving dinners, and I mean, I could put it away in my 20s, right?
Right.
So then after all that is done, it's late afternoon, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go jogging at the track. This is in Atlanta. It was at the North Fulton High School track. It was like a quarter-mile oval, right? And I've eaten, I don't know, like 5,000 calories or something ridiculous.
Right.
I go out there and I'm jogging. I was doing 2 or 3 miles, and maybe about a mile in, I mean, I started feeling some definite, like my internal situation was changing, and it was changing fast. And this, this is a football field. So, I mean, there were some hedges, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of cover. This wasn't like, I couldn't just like dart into the woods or something, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I scampered to the nearest bush and just kind of huddled down and pulled my shorts down and just let go and got back to it. But the moral of the story is
cleaned up a little.
Do not eat 2 Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, even in your 20s, when you're just like Gumby, you're just like as rubbery and as healthy as you're ever going to be.
Right.
Don't do that. In fact, I would seriously maybe not even jog at all that day.
Nobody jogs on Thanksgiving. Literally.
No, I mean, I was the only one out there. I mean, there was no traffic. There was nobody at the. I think I had to like kind of sneak onto the field. I mean, it wasn't even unlocked. It was just God was telling me in every conceivable way, just don't. And then I did. So
how much pumpkin pie have you had?
Yeah,
Don't go
and it's
jogging.
just
Phil, don't go jogging.
Man, it was horrifying. But that's and also you're talking about, you said that thing about I'm not original. And it reminded me, because like when I first started doing, I told you I started doing open mics like mid 80s. And at that time, the two hot young comics were Sam Kinison and Bill Hicks. If you remember Bill. And
Bill Hicks, yeah. God.
Yeah, Bill Hicks was like the comics. I mean, he was just so bright. And so I saw him on Letterman, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. So the first tape, back then you're sending out a VHS tape of your act to try to get work.
Right.
And the first tape I sent out, I had 3 stolen Bill Hicks jokes. This is Bill Hicks. So I mean, this ain't Carlin. I mean, these are very, very specific jokes.
Right.
And the Booker lady's like, well, you're funny, but you did 3 Bill Hicks, and really, as like that could have been an accident.
Oh, that was his.
Yeah, like you mean, but 100 monkeys by a typewriter, they're going to write War and Peace. It's like.
Right.
And she gave me work. I mean, that's just how much work there was at that time. Even a lying, thieving sack of shite was, because then also, if you're going to steal jokes, I mean, Bill Hicks was, if you're going to do stolen stuff, he was a good guy to steal from. But I stopped sending out tapes.
Well, you knew the jokes were going to land.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like he was a much better writer than I was.
God, you're funny. I'm going to use your shit. I'm not getting half the laughs you are.
And the funny thing is, people probably stole what they thought were my jokes. They were actually Bill Hicks's jokes. So
fuck you, they were Bill Hicks's.
And then I met him a couple times, and I did not mention that By the way, thanks for getting me work, because I use most of your stuff on my tape. But,
So we were talking about Bruce Leonard.
Valanche.
No, Leonard. We was talking the other day when we was texting back and forth.
Leonard Charing.
Yeah, well, he goes by Bruce Leonard.
Who the hell are you talking about?
Oh, what else does he go by? He goes by on Facebook. Your buddy in Vegas.
And his name is Leonard?
Yeah.
Because I know, Leonard Stair is a guy I started out doing open mics with way back. And now I think he lives in Portland. I don't know if that's the guy you're...
he's friends with Dan. Dan actually told me to get a hold of him.
Dan Friedman?
Yeah.
Right. Good. The co-star of One Nighters.
Yes. And he was...
Now, have you had Dan on?
What's his name? God damn it. He's just got a new album out. What's his name? Oh, hold on. I'll have it in a second, because he's going to be my next guest. Adam Chancellor is what he goes by on Facebook.
Okay.
But his real name is Bruce Leonard. Kind of like Lenny Bruce, except for his...
yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought that's who we was talking about the other day. And so we were talking about 2 different people. So he's got a new, because we was talking about, different comedians, but he's got a new album out, and it's funny. And somebody said, I think you're funnier than Dane Cook. And I go, was that a compliment?
That's kind of a backhanded,
Yeah, you're also faster than most turtles I know. Like...
Dane Cook, I mean, that was because he was like Dice Clay. He was one of these guys that just blew up. I mean, just freaking exploded. He's playing amphitheaters. And then, a couple of years later, he's back at like the Funny Bone circuit. It's like, I don't know how you... I mean, I wish I had that problem, but I mean, it's...
I went to see Bobcat Goldthwait about a month and a half ago. And he was just at a little club down in Peoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to play, theaters. But I mean, he's like directing movies now. I mean, I think he's putting his creativity into good places. Well, and I mean, Dice Clay, I mean, he was in that Woody Allen movie.
Oh, he's a great actor.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, Dane Cook will be like...
HBO had a series on called Vinyl, and it had had Ray Romano.
The record industry.
What's that?
Well, it was about the record industry, right?
Yeah, it had Ray Romano
in the 70s,
and he played just an incredible part. And Bobcat lives by Aaron. That's cool. So he played an incredible part. He's a better actor than he is comedian. hands down.
But like that character, like that Dice Clay, and then I fucked her in the ass. Ho! Even to this day, Jon Stewart will sometimes like when Jon Stewart, like on the Daily Show, would say something really bombastic. He would go, "Ho!" Yeah, he would do like a little bit. If you were a Jersey comic in that, I mean, Dice was just so charismatic. He was like this. Like if Elvis and Rodney Dangerfield and a biker had a kid, he was like, I want to be that invulnerable. I want to be that bulletproof, Right. But yeah, he was a monster. He just crushed him,
Yeah, he was big. He was very, very big.
I thought, like when I first moved to LA, I saw Dane Cook at the Improv, and I thought and I said to my roommate, who was also a good comic, it's like he's doing kind of like really average material, but he's acting it out.
Yeah.
So, he's so animated. He's like, why did the chicken cross the road, man? It's like if you work that hard, it's like, all right, we'll laugh, like,
Yeah, and the ladies like to look at him too, so they like to promote him a little bit more.
Girls liked him because he's good looking. And
exactly, because like I'm like listening to his jokes. He's like, yeah, dude, yeah, I want to come to your party. You invite me to your party, yeah, dude. Your directions you gave me, it's got like, there's like a sign, but it's behind a tree that's from like the Mesozoic era. Yeah, and I'm like,
I mean, if you just crashingly average material, but
like let the
shit out of it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But, and he got famous. I think it was back in the days of MySpace.
Yeah.
He got like, millions of followers. He bypassed the gatekeepers, kind of like, Bieber did with YouTube. And, it's like nowadays, if you get famous, it's on YouTube. It's not going to Hollywood and kissing ass, and then they get you on this and they get you on that.
Right.
The proper channels are completely different now,
Absolutely. Who's the God? Do you watch Hot Ones?
I have not seen Hot Ones.
It's a great. I fucking love because I'm a heatonist myself because I like hot stuff. I mean, I like hot sauces. Love them. I've got like 43 of them. Like literally, yeah. And we'll cook wings and do a Hot Ones thing and stuff like that. But there's a kid on there and he's Scottish and my God, his voice is amazing. And he's got Tourette's and he does like this, and he is funny as hell. I didn't want the interview to end. I thought he was just fantastic, but he was another YouTube
sensation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I sit on my porch a lot here in Georgia, and I got this neighbor who walks by and he's 17 years old. And he said, "Oh, I've got a thing on YouTube." I'm like, yeah, whatever. And he mentions that his friend does these YouTubes called Jack Pop, all one word. He's got 1.5 million followers. 1.5 million. I work on a documentary with Jay Leno and all this shit. It's got 3,000 viewers on YouTube. This kid's got 1 million, and he's hilarious. And he's clearly like addicted to shooting and editing stuff because they're mostly like 1 to 5 minute little videos, and they're freaking funny and they're smart, and there's always like little cheesy special effects. And I'm like, you know what? And if I ever meet the kid, I'm going to be like, man, could you give me some advice?
No shit. Yeah, exactly. Hey, could you bring him over? I just want to pick his brain for a minute or two.
Yeah. If you ever need like a pedophile priest or something.
17.
Yeah.
55, and I can't get.
That's such a meritocracy. It's like if you get all those viewers on YouTube, the business is going to come to him. You know what I mean? He's going to be having like William Morris kissing his ass.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what you need to promote cigarettes. How old are you again, son? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 17.
Oh, that's Philip Morris. Not William Morris. That's Philip Morris. Okay.
Philip Morris is the tobacco. William Morris is the the agent.
Right.
Because I wrote down some embarrassing things. Can I rattle off a couple of them?
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
All right. This is okay. When I was
my show, man, it's free flow. Whatever you feel like, Phil.
Because this is going to be therapeutic. Because these are things you hold in and you don't want to think about and you don't want to talk about because you embarrass yourself in public. But when I was like 6 or 7, my family went to some kind of outdoor festival kind of thing, and part of the festival was a greased pig catching contest. They oil up a small pig. and then a man, I think there might have been several people in this pen. It was a pretty large pen, and they're trying to catch the pig, and the pig is, squealing and whining. So here I'm 6 or 7 years old, and we had moved recently to Georgia from New York City. So I was I was slightly different. My parents went to Cornell. They were a little bit different wiring, and I'm shouting, "Leave that pig alone, you fucking bastard!" And I mean, this is the Baptist South in the early '70s. And of course the other parents are looking at my parents to immediately beat my ass.
And go, you're in the wrong, Phil.
Oh my God!
You're trying to protect the pig.
I'm trying to protect the pig.
Christian sons of bitches. That's
in a greased pig coming iamly fly, and it's like, man, just shut your Yankee commie ass up and let us catch this greased pig, you bastard. But so that was up there. Oh, also, okay.
I'm from Fulton County, Illinois, and it's a very rural. I've seen rodeos. I've seen the greased pig things. I've seen all this shit, man.
And one time, this wasn't embarrassing per se, but years later, like now I'm 14 or 15, and we go to an outdoor cookout for the company. My parents knew somebody who knew somebody, so we go to this cookout, and there's a pig, and it's incredible, and the food is out of this world. And then, and we get there, and we're there for like maybe an hour, and then like we just quickly, like my mom and dad are like, we gotta go, and I'm, what the hell, right? And we get in the car, and my mom is in tears. There's going to be a cockfight that night, like in another half an hour. So everybody was going to congregate in one of the barns or whatever, and two chickens were going to rip each other's guts out. And my mother, I mean, that was part of the reason I'm yelling at the pig. My mother was such an animal lover that, I mean, if she'll catch a cockroach in her hands and let it out the door, and I'll just stumble.
Oh God.
Yeah. So that was the deal on that one.
Wow. Your mom's scooping up palmetto bugs and taking them out to the door.
Oh, yeah, really. I mean, just such a. But so yeah, we go to this thing, and that was like another one of the cultural. We moved to Georgia in the early '70s. I mean, if you think about it, like segregation ended in 1964, right? I remember in like '72, there was a guy running for governor of Georgia. Jimmy Carter ran and won, and then became president, later.
Right.
But this guy was named J.B. Stoner, and he was a former Klansman. He was kicked out of one of the Alabama Klan chapters because he was too racist. I mean, I don't know what do you have to do, right? But anyway,
him and Marjorie Taylor Greene need to hang out,
exactly.
Man. That's what
well, no, you're just, this is untawdry.
Yeah.
So
okay. Anyway, we're fucked up.
Yeah.
You,
sir. You're
when
bad.
The fucking right wing whack job fucking Klan kicks you the fuck out for being.
But honestly, it's probably like he was bringing too much like FBI heat on, you know what I mean? But so he's doing these commercials in 1972. He's running for governor of Georgia, and he's got a Confederate flag.
I don't even see why they outlawed lynching.
Yeah, well, and he said, I'm J.B. Stoner, and he was a lawyer, and he represented James Earl Ray, who shot Martin Luther King. Well, that's a sidebar, but so he's got this like 30-second commercial. He's running for governor. He's got a Confederate flag behind him. And he's saying the N-word are trying to take away our white women. I mean, we're like, it's like we're Jewish people who moved to, like Warsaw, Poland in 1945.
Exactly. My God.
What the hell are we doing here? This is
no.
And he didn't win, and things changed. But I mean, that just shows you, like 50 years ago in Georgia, it was still, the Confederacy was
the thing. In my lifetime, they were still doing the Tuskegee experiments.
Yeah,
what the fuck? That was in my lifetime.
So how old are you?
55.
I'm 50. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, segregation ended like shortly before you were born. I mean,
64. Yeah, 64 or 65, somewhere around there, Johnson. Yeah.
Another one. Okay, this is a movie related. Did you ever see the film Field of Dreams?
Yes.
All right, now Field of Dreams. I don't want to tip it if you haven't seen it, but it's got a very emotional ending, right? If you remember that, his father, his father never played catch. Kevin Costner, he's got this farm in Iowa, and these baseball players from beyond, like Shoeless Joe Jackson. All these guys are coming back from the dead somehow and playing baseball in his yard.
Yeah, you got Ruth, you got Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's tossing the ball and he realized it's his father.
Right.
So, okay. I'm in a theater in Atlanta with my girlfriend, and it's a small crowd. I mean, there's like maybe 10 people. I think it was like a summer day. And I mean, I'm about to cry. You know, I can feel it. I'm trying so hard to hold it in that I just kind of went, it was like a walrus being, having his nuts cut off. Or something,
You're a sodomized walrus there.
Yeah. I mean, had I just let it out immediately, it would have been like, okay, this guy's, he's having a moment, probably because my father died when I was 19. So there was plenty of grist for the mill.
Right.
Trying to hold it in. I think my girlfriend actually moved a couple of seats further. I was crying like a little bitch. I mean, that is like one of the ultimate, I think, man cry type movies.
Well, thank God. I don't know why it hit me like that. I just moved into this apartment, and all I had was terrestrial TV. So I had 3 channels basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I am a movie buff. I like movies, and I'm a pretty hard guy. It takes a lot to move me. Yeah. And there was nothing else on. So here I am watching Walker, Texas Ranger, which is really not my go-to show.
Well, Chuck Norris,
Yeah, exactly. And this little black girl started singing Amazing Grace.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah, and you're walking.
I'm like wiping my face, my tears. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Your wife is like, "What are you watching? Walker, Texas Ranger, honey."
The
show always gets me.
Really pulls at my heartstrings.
God, yeah. There was another one. Oh God, okay. Bagpipes. For some reason, because I guess when I was a little kid in New York, we go to any like the Macy's Day, any parade. In New York, there's gonna be bagpipes.
Right.
And I went to a friend's wedding. I don't know, 20-something years ago, and and it's just quiet in this little church in Virginia somewhere, and all of a sudden you hear, and it's freaking Amazing Grace on the bagpipe as they walk in. And I mean, spot the mentally ill guy spot the guy with issues. They haven't even gotten in the room yet, and I'm sobbing like a bitch listening to Amazing Grace on the freaking bagpipe. So don't feel bad about the Walker Texas Rangers thing.
So this is something that happened to me 2 nights ago. And I said, well, I'm definitely going to bring this up on the show. Hey, Brandon, Scott McFadden's watching us. Hey, Brandon, how are you, buddy? And we're talking to Phil Perrier. He has written for Jay Leno, George Lopez, Arsenio Hall. He's got a show called Smoked Yogurt online. Look him up, Phil Perrier. He's fantastic. He also has a show, a movie on YouTube called One Nighters. And it's about him and a couple of guys. Dan, what's Dan's last name?
You got Dan Friedman, you got Jay Leno, you got Billy Gardell of Bob Hearts Abishola, among others. You got Daryl Rhodes. You got, I say, Judy Tenuta. You got Chris Petta. I mean, just a lot of funny Americans.
No, Brandon, this is not a rerun. I'm actually live again. So,
wow, that tells you I'm probably doing exactly the same stories I did last time.
So probably I do a lot of the same. This is definitely.
Oh, yeah, who the hell knows? It's all moving so fast.
I go down to this bar and a guy I know down there, and his name's Phil. I come walking up. He goes, "Thank God," and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I go walking up to him. This other guy standing here. He turns and looks at me. He goes, "I know this guy. We get along." And I'm like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, like, cause I'm forgetful as fuck. I'm ADD. In case you can't tell,
you think it might be you.
In my head, Kermit the Frog is doing this the entire time in my head, always. That's my head. Wow. Yeah. So, without Coke. So anyway, the guy's like, he's like, I'll buy you a drink. I'll buy you a drink. And I go, I drink scotch, man. I'm not sure you should buy me a drink. And he goes, no, it's on me. It's on me. Hey, when's the last time you seen Jason? I go, I don't know who the fuck Jason is. Like I don't think I know Jason, dude. I really don't think I know you. Anyway, yeah, come on. So we go in, and the girl, he goes, I'll have one too. And they brought in this one scotch for me. It's called Monkey Shoulder, which I like. It's a blended scotch, but it's not too expensive, but it's decent. And she pours me 2 fingers. She pours him 2 fingers of scotch. And he goes, cheers. And I go, salute. And I click the glass, and I took a sip. He throws it down. Just 2 fingers of scotch. Wham. The other finger came out his nose. I mean, just fucking, just dripping. He's like,
which is why you don't do that with scotch.
Yeah, he's like, and I don't know if you've ever had scotch come out your nose or any heavy alcohol. It ain't great.
Yeah.
You've had better days.
Yeah.
So he's like he's like blowing his nose. It's just still fucking leaking all over him. And he looks at my buddy Phil and he goes, you're a bricklayer, right? And the guy goes, Phil goes, yeah, one time I was. He goes, why I get you? I'm going to get you back in the union. You're going to be a millwright. You're going to be a millwright. And he's like, no, man, I don't think I can do that. And he's like, yeah. He goes, I'll get you in right. I'll call my boss right now. I'll call my boss right now. You know, I'm going to call him right now. And he's like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm commercial, you know. And he goes, well, I'm calling him. And Phil goes, I have ALS, dude. I'm dying. So I'm going to call him right now. And I'll get you in the union, you know. And so still goes past him. So he calls his boss. He goes, hey, I got 2 guys here. I want to get in the union. And I go, yeah, well, you got one. I'm good. And Phil goes, I've got ALS. And he goes like this. He goes like this to his boss. Well, one of them has ALS. Is that okay?
God almighty. When opportunity knocks, you know, you just got to get on it is the point here, right?
He's like, Phil's literally like, dude, I got ALS. I'm dying. And the guy's like, yeah, I'll get you on. So here, hold on. I'm going to call him right now. And I just imagine his boss on the other side of the fucking phone going, ALS.
Yeah, man. His boss, like, I should have fired this guy 3-4 years ago. Easy. With these drunk calls, you know, he's calling the boss.
He's literally, he's got him on speakerphone. He goes, one has ALS. Is that all right?
Who's Al? What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Is not driving a stick shift because I couldn't drive a stick shift until I was 34 years, and that was a traumatizing. Because how old were you when you learned how to drive a stick shift?
15.
Yeah, see, that's what I keep getting. It's like 13. You know, people learned on the farm when they were 12. So I'm living with my ex-wife, and and the thing was, like, all through my formative years, there'd be times where people are drinking, and they're like, "Here, Phil, you drive." I'm like, "Is that a stick shift?" Well, I can't. And they're like, "What are you, a fag?" I mean, really, I don't mean to disparage the BLTG community. I mean, that's exactly the word.
Things we can't say anymore, Phil.
And I bet. I mean, my guess is gay guys probably drive a stick shift pretty well. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned how to drive a stick shift.
This just feels very right.
Yeah, and the feet.
Why is this comfortable to me?
Yeah. So so, and then so like a few years later, or 2 years later, maybe, I learned how to drive a stick shift on my wife's Toyota MR2, which is apparently a good car to learn on. And then my mom and I go to France, and you can't get an automatic in France at a rent-a-car, right? So we get the rent-a-car in Paris, and I've got to drive out of Paris to get to my aunt's house in the south of France. And there's about 20 roundabouts that I've got to navigate. And I can't, and it's in a Renault van that stalled. I swear to God, we stalled 50. My mother is just like,
well, now, did it stall, Phil? Or did you just fuck
no,
it up.
it was completely user error. I mean, it was my fault because I mean, I was like barely able to drive a stick shift. And if you're driving in daytime Paris traffic with 1,000 people on your ass, I mean, this is
who
the
hasn't
worst.
been there?
Yeah.
No. I've been through Atlanta at fucking 3 o'clock on that fucking interstate in an automatic, and that wasn't no fucking fun.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So Phil Perrier is from Atlanta, just to give perspective to this.
Yeah.
And he's a great comedian. Everybody else that's just watching. So.
Well, thank you. That's great. I think I'm a good comedian, but I'm a great writer of late night monologue material. Well, and I think One Nighters is the only film of its kind. You know what I mean?
It is. I have not seen. He wrote for Jay Leno. He wrote for Arsenio Hall, and he wrote for George Lopez. So anyway, go on with your Renault.
I'm just going to say that. I mean, it was just the absolute. And my mom doesn't drive. She didn't have a. Although ironically, she did when she was like 17 years old. She learned how to drive. She was living in Venezuela, and this is like in the 50s. And her parents said to her, they said, "Look, this is a corrupt country. So if the police ever want to pull you over, you might get raped and murdered. So don't." So she hits a police car.
Oh God!
Yeah. She's then running from the police car. She hits another police car. The guy she's sitting next to another American student. He takes the wheel and they get safely out of there. And she never drove again for the rest of her freaking life.
It's like, I don't want to get in a crash. Yeah. They're gonna fuck me.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I don't know. That may or may not have been true, but I mean, it's just like one of those third world countries, and my grandfather was making a good money working as a lawyer for oil companies, and if his daughters got abducted, that's just collateral. Nothing is perfect is the point.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, that's not perfect. So, that's far from perfect, Phil. That's
it was freaking nightmarish, but and now I haven't driven a stick shift in many years, and now I got crippled in 05 surfing, so I think my stick shift driving days are over, frankly.
Right. We was talking about the KKK and stuff like that, and
I do not advocate. I do not. I think those guys are bad.
The bill went through that those people that didn't want to make a gay cake for the gay couple. Okay, now I'm very liberal. I'm like, if I have a stroke, I hope it's on my left side so I can lean as left as possible. So like I'm as left, and my wife is like, those sons of bitches. And I'm like, stop. This is a good thing, because say you own a cake shop and a Klansman comes in and he wants a KKK cake.
I know there's a.
Now we can tell them you own your own business. You got to tell people what you want. Yeah. I'm not making your fucking KKK cake. So,
like, what if somebody comes in there and go, look, I want you to make my birthday cake look like the sexiest beagle. A beagle with a firm little ass. I mean, then it's like.
Exactly.
Do you make the cake? Do you not make it? Where do you draw the line?
Licking my dick at the same. Yeah, no. Like,
I want this birthday cake to have I want Hitler's face right in the middle. It's like, well, I don't want to do Hitler's face. I want to do Charlie Chaplin's face.
I'm going to say no to the neo-Nazi cake. So no cake, no cake. So,
I'm guessing these choices don't come up in the baking industry that often, but it's a story pops up.
If it does.
If it does, yeah. You gotta go with your heart.
Big supporter of the LGBTQ circle gets a square community. That's my. I love these people. I love so many of my daughter's friends are gay, and they're always over at my house, and I love all of them.
Now here's okay. Now Bill Maher has been talking about this up until the strike, of course, and I think it's true that it's like in our era. We're both in the you're a little younger, but. I mean, being gay was, I don't know, like 2%. And transsexual was extremely rare. I mean, that was like freaky deaky. That was like, there'd be a thing on 60 Minutes about it.
They're all still there, Phil. They're all still there.
I know, but it doesn't
assholes.
Like, I think the younger generations now, there's a hell of a lot. The percentage of gay, trans, and non-binary, it's much, much larger. I mean, I don't know, like, what conclusions can be drawn from. And like Bill Maher was like, well, how can it be that there's like more gay kids in LA than there are in Youngstown, Ohio? You know what I mean?
There's not. Well,
can it be regional?
By population, that's only it. That's it. Just by
Well,
population.
I think his feeling was like if you're in Berkeley or if you're in New York, you're in some super liberal place. It's like kids are almost being encouraged. They're almost being pointed towards the, like if you're going to Berkeley and the first day of school, they're like, how many of you kids are non-binary? Every hand is going to go up. You don't want to say, no, I'm just like a boring old fart like my mom and dad. I like pussy,
Yeah. Well, when I was in high school, and my buddy's brother, he was gay. He was gay. He was gay. He was gay. Like I knew he was gay. We're sitting there, we're drinking beer, and we're just shooting the shit. And he goes, "Oh," and then that Kelly walks by me, and I'm like, "I just want to fuck you." I'm like, Brian, God damn it! And finally, he graduated. He got the fuck out of our small little town, and he went in the Navy, and he next thing you know, he's like, "Hey, guess what?" I'm like, "You're gay." He's like, "I'm gay." I know, Brian. God damn it! Like,
well, like when you were in high school, were there any
again? I'm very. This is 87, 86, somewhere around. But then again, I'm very liberal, and stuff like that. But so many dickheads in the town weren't,
Oh yeah.
So I don't blame him for closet.
Yeah. Well, I was watching this thing last night on A&E about the Playboy, like the dark secrets of Playboy or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had this model who was from Georgia, and she did like a Playboy cover in the early 80s, let's say, or maybe late 80s. And her little town in Georgia, they started calling child welfare service. They basically had her kid taken away from her because she had been naked in a magazine,
God.
Yeah, I mean that it's like the Taliban or something. It's like that's not the way it's supposed to be. But
we're in a society where people call the Coast Guard to save the people from Gilligan's Island. This is the society we live in, Phil. Sure, we wanted it to be better. We thought maybe 50 fucking years later it'd be better.
Yeah.
Turns out people are still fucking stupid.
I know. It's like after 8 years of Obama, we're like, oh God, we're such an enlightened. And there's like, pow!
Looks like we made it.
Yeah. Donald Trump is like he's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We're like, oh, we're still assholes. We tried.
What do you get next? Well, here's this orange fucking Muppet that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. We love him. MAGA.
I've got a Donald Trump.
There it is.
Can we see him there?
Exactly.
How's it going?
How about if we just inject disinfect? And this is what I call his Formula 409 initiative, by the way. Why don't we just inject disinfectant?
I know, or shine a light inside their body. That always.
Did you hear my joke? The Formula 409 initiative.
Oh, I get it. Like a deep. Yes.
Like Formula 409.
Yes.
God damn it.
I'm sorry. I'm slow.
I thought that was going to land better. I really thought that was going to land better.
There are probably people out there in Radio Land laughing heartily.
But like there's like my wife's friend, she got it right off the bat because I held on to that for it was like a month and a half. Like it was a month and a half. I held on to that, and I was waiting for the right time, and I fucking hit it. And I had an audience of 3, and then 2 people laughed, and I'm like, good. Well, it was in my garage, so that's why it was
yeah, man.
Yeah, his Formula 409 initiative that failed.
I'm thinking about there's this one story that I don't know if I told you last time.
Though I encouraged it for many people. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted.
All right. Well, this is the most. I mean, there's probably more embarrassing stuff, but I don't even like to think it out loud. But I was in a hotel, and I'm sitting on the toilet taking a dump, and the door, the configuration of the hotel is such that I got the door. I'm by myself in there. It's daytime. I got the door to the bathroom open, and the maid opens the door. So she and I are making eye contact while I'm pooping. It's like I don't know that. Maybe like when your wife walks in the room, you're like, get out.
Yeah, right.
I don't like that. I don't ever want to be comfortable, and I don't like every girl I've ever, lady, relationship. Like, do not walk in. If I'm taking a dump, can I have a little bit of privacy? The idea they just walk in and go, well, we're here. Yeah, it's like, no. I don't want to be in anybody's prey. So anyway, I'm looking at this, and she had like an accent, like she was from another country, where looking at somebody in the eye when you're pooping is perfectly normal and whatever, And she's like, do you want me to come in and clean the room? And I'm like,
no.
I mean, I was panicking. I was like, no. And she's like, well, do you want me to come back? I mean, she wouldn't. I want her to just close the door and just go away and just maybe,
Was she German? Was she like,
no,
he's a dropping pooping, like that? Or,
like one of the African
I can change. This whole bit I've been working on, it's about changing English words into German words and making them sound German. Like,
oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like I want to make my Schneekespitten. Schneekespitten? Yeah, maybe I'll do a little muffin diving.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Like,
I think Mel Brooks, the producers, kind of played with some of that too,
Dripping wetting from muffin diving. Maybe fucking stupid. It's a bit I've been working on.
Loud and clear, man.
Yeah. I think I did that with God damn it. Aaron. I think I did it on Aaron's show too. I'm not sure, but anyway, still funny. Still
the thing I've been kicking around is, okay, you ever like substitute the word squirrel for girl in a song? Because there's so many, songs with my squirrel talking about my squirrel. Okay, well, another one I do is
talking about my squirrel.
Yes, nice. But another one that I do is like, because I'm 2% Jewish according to Ancestry.com, so the Jewish word, I think the Yiddish word for like a non-Jewish person is goyim.
So if you was in Nazi Germany, they'd cut off your pinky.
Yeah, 2%. I think I'd be okay, but I wouldn't go into the office and go, "Hey, I'm 2% Jew."
Exactly.
Like,
you're losing you're losing an encivering.
Yeah, something. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the word is goyim, or they shorten it to goy, right? So when I'm doing a song, if I'm singing to myself in the shower, squirrel for girl, and then goy, so that the Beach Boys song would be 2 squirrels for every goy. It's a sign that I'm mentally ill, but what the hell? If I can get laughs with it for 2 minutes on the comedy, you know what I mean?
That's right. You gotta be a little fucked up, otherwise you're not normal. That's actually my true feeling. You gotta be a little fucked up, otherwise you're not normal. Like normal people, they're fucked up. Normal people are really fucked up. If you can't see the humor in things, like God, like I'm laughing at my parents' funeral. I'm like making fucking jokes.
Yeah, no. If you're a humorous person, you're gonna find humor in Dan. Okay, when I was a little kid, I was with my mom and my brother. We're watching, I think it was like Night of the Grizzly. I think Clint Walker was the star, and it's about a giant bear that's terrorizing a community in the Old West. And then in one scene, they're showing bear tracks in the garden, and I guess they're squash or something. I'm like, ooh, look, it's bear eggs. And my mother and my brother laugh, and for years they were like, that was the best joke. I wasn't kidding. I mean, I've done
that. I've done that so many times. Yeah. I just said something fucked up, and then it turned out,
oh, you're hilarious.
Yeah, you're great. No,
I'm an idiot.
And I'm like, and it took me a minute to click. Oh, ha ha ha! I got you.
Eggs, but, I was young. I didn't know if bears laid eggs or
right. But
anyway,
well, I've definitely been there. I've said something really fucking stupid, and then everybody goes, "Good one." And I've been like,
yeah, you're like, oh yeah,
man. Hey, you know me, funny guy, not moron, definitely not moron.
Yeah. Take it where you take. If you get a laugh, just act like you meant to do that.
Just take it.
Just take it, baby.
And it happens when I do double entendres a lot of times.
Like, give me an example.
I can't. I wish I could bring. I know that I do it with double entendres, but I just can't. I don't have anything.
Yeah, I can't think of a double entendre. But I'll tell you what. Was it in Chicago where there was a baseball announcer who said something about going to the Negro League Museum, and instead of saying Negro, he said another word similar, and he got fired. He'd been with them.
Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah, 20 years he'd been with that team. And so, man,
it's on the, yeah. You don't do
I would avoid. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say Negro. I don't know what the fuck. I think I would just have the other guys. It's just because nowadays, it's so uptight, and people are like waiting to pounce on something.
Yeah. But yeah, I stay away from every and I try to stay away from any obviously. Your mind's your mind. Things jump in there, but you just that's the beauty of being intelligent.
Well, or just you stay away from like abortion or politics or
stay away from everything and just be fluid. Just be fluid. But yeah.
But your mind is probably like clicking. It's like, oh, I can't say that. Oh, I can't say it. You got to mitigate that.
What? Oh, God damn it! Like so many people have been fired, but that was their own stupidity.
Yeah, I've been fired.
That was
but like now,
from that fucking radio station, because that little cocksucker knew he was a fucking grift. Let's see.
We've all been fired from radio. I've been fired from radio stations.
Have you?
I got fired, and another one went out of business. And I mean, radio is a very fickle mistress, I shall say.
Okay. So, yeah, so my daughter and I, we go to, and I didn't have my daughter until I was 40. So she was like
she's 14, is that right?
What's that?
You said you're 54, so I'm guessing she's 14-ish.
I'm 55. Yeah, she's 15.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we was in Walmart, and I'm like, you know what? I just fucking need a haircut. So like, it was open. I see nobody was in there. I go in there. And this girl, she was a little different anyway. But anyway, like she's like, I feel her like when she's using, how well, maybe not you, but when they're shaving your head, it feels like a very smooth kind of a
kind feel. It's kind of like a massage kind of with a trimmer.
Well, yeah, she's like I feel like it's almost like a fucking like a roller. I don't know if she has Parkinson's. Or something but I know it's not feeling right.
Yeah.
And then she looks at me and she goes, "Oh yeah, are you here with your granddaughter?"
Oh.
I don't know. Are you putting on weight?
Oh. Man, yeah, granddaughter. It's only going to get worse too, because you're probably going to get older, right?
Worst haircut I've ever had.
Wow. Did she finish it?
Yeah, well, yeah. Again,
this was not a happy ending.
Halfway through, it wasn't going great to begin with, and then it just got progressively worse after the whole weight question. So it was,
golly.
Like, no, that's my daughter. By the way, are you putting on weight? Yeah.
One time when I was waiting tables years ago, I asked a lady when she was expecting, and she was not. So. That's even worse. Yeah. It's like, oh, so, because she just had that, like that. Man, I never did that. Even if a woman is like obviously pregnant now, I leave it the hell alone.
What was that show? Paul Reiser, Helen Hunt. What was the name of that show?
Mad About You, right?
Mad About You. And they had the episode, and he's sitting next to what he thought was a woman and thought she was pregnant. He goes, Can I just feel it?
Oh.
And she goes, yeah. He goes, well, I don't feel a kick. He goes, you're a man? She goes,
oh my God.
You thought I was a woman? Like it was so.
So it was a man, not even a pregnant woman.
Right.
And certainly not a pregnant man, but
right.
Who am I to guess about who can do that?
It was like the writer on that one was.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. Whoever wrote that bit.
Yeah, well, that's the lifeblood of comedy, right? Get somebody into some completely awkward nightmare situation and see how the hell they weasel out of it.
I can't even hardly watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's so like I get secondhand embarrassed so bad. I can't even and to know that he's sociopathic about it. Like he doesn't mean any apology he does. He has no like feeling of repercussion or empathy other than for himself.
Yeah.
And like he's the constant victim of things that he does to other people. and like yeah, like he does fucked up things to people and then he's the victim for it in his own mind. And it's so embarrassing that you just can't you're like I watch Curb Your Enthusiasm like this.
Yeah. I can't even watch those shows like Punk'd and people getting pranked. I
hate them.
I can't watch like ever go to improv.
Practical Jokers, and Practical Jokers is the worst fucking thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Really, I couldn't even watch it. No. And I don't like. I've been to comedy clubs where they're doing improv and like, oh, give us an idea. I feel nervous for the people on stage.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference with Impractical Jokers, is that you're taking innocent people and you're literally putting them horribly uncomfortable and being horribly bad to regular people. And I'm not like, I like to make people laugh. I love it. It's my favorite fucking thing on the earth. Like when I feel that, I feel redemption in my body, in my soul. I feel elated. I feel great. It's the best feeling in the fucking world, but not if I'm hurting somebody intentionally.
Yeah.
Like I do shock. Like I'll put like, and I got this from Penn and Teller. Greatest fucking joke ever. You put a crunchable piece of plastic under your arm and your coat, and you pick up their pet, and you go, "When's the last time your dog's been adjusted?" And then you turn the dog's head, and then you crinkle the plastic.
And it really sounds like the dog's neck is.
Wow. And I literally had people go.
Like a cartoon with their eyeballs.
Yeah. Oh, he's all fine now. Go get him, Scruffs. Like, what the fuck did you do to my dog? Great Penn and Teller.
I got one more embarrassing thing, and then I got to go in a minute. But
that sounds good. We've been on for about an hour, and I fucking love you. You're amazing.
Thank you. This is the most fun show. But okay, so I'm in high school.
Stop it. I brag about that all the time. Like they're like, you think you're funny. Not only me, but I've got video evidence that I'm fucking funny. So
yeah, absolutely. No, it's good to have that hard copy. So yeah, okay. I'm in high school and we just got done from basketball practice. I'm standing out in front of it's still light out. And I'm standing in the driveway of the high school, like right in front of the whole entranceway. And there's just people sitting and milling around. And one of the guys from the team came up behind me and I'm wearing like gym shorts and undies.
Pants you.
Right. And just pants me. But he got both the gym shorts and the tighty whities under. I don't know. I don't know what, but I look down and I mean, I've got all my pants are at my ankles. I'm seeing my flaccid and I'm just like broad. I mean, it was surreal. I mean, I'm just like, and I quickly bent down and it's like people, and the thing was nobody said a word.
We were in line. We were doing a practice graduation walk in high school. And my buddy Brad and my buddy Kenny walks up to behind Brad, fucking pantses him. Brad's a fucking elephant. He's got a fucking... And he just like, Brad stands there for a second, looks around, takes his time.
If I was an elephant, I would have been paying people to pants me in front of girls. I would have
been. Did you, Kenny? Were you looking for applause for Brad? Because I don't think that's.
Yeah, that backfired horribly.
This guy's carrying a fucking bat. He's like, he's not even. He's like, whatever. Like me. I'm like, God, yeah. Gentile white, fucking like.
Yeah,
fucking yeah.
Good point.
I look like I've been swimming.
Me too. It was like It drew no ire whatsoever. Anyway, man, it was a gas once again, and always a pleasure.
Phil, I want you to tell everybody about you real quick before you leave, and then I'll close out. And then if you got time, I want to talk to you after just for a minute or two.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm a comic. I've got shows coming up in January in Utah. I've got one-nighters on my documentary film about comedy on YouTube. One-nighters. I've got my podcast, Smoked Yogurt, 12:30 on Facebook. And that's about it. I've got 2 cats. I'm happily divorced.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not met his 2 cats, that's what he's really famous for.
Gina and Lily, they're
Fluffy
fantastic.
and Mittens, actually, they're Indian, so it's Fluffy Nose and Toes and Cottontail Tiddywinks. But they're Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Not Asian. Either way. But this guy has written for Jay Leno. He's written for Arsenio Hall. He's written for George Lopez. He's cutting himself fucking short. This guy is a monster. He's been in the industry for a lot of years. He's fantastic. Check out his show on YouTube called One Nighters. It has so many great comedians on there that you're never going to be able to see live again. You're never going to see them be live again. They're fantastic. As for me, you can give me money at Patreon, at My Worst Holiday, at patreon.com. You can always, you know what? Give us money. Give us fucking money. If you like a show, give us fucking money. It's the easiest thing to do. It's the cheapest thing you can do. Just $1. Yeah, cheap fuckers. Anyway, love you all. And from a room next to my bathroom in my basement, this has been My Worst Holiday.
All right.
Good night, everybody.